Hello and welcome back to my channel, Celestial Creativity. This is part 3 out of 4 of a series where I'm talking about menstruation. So if you haven't seen parts 1 and 2, be sure and go check them out because there's a lot of really beautiful information that I've learned that has really impacted my life in a positive way. In the first video, I talked about winter, and that is the time during the cycle when you're bleeding, and you tend to be more intuitive during that time. Part 2 is about spring. That's the time after the bleed and your energy levels are on the rise, so it's a good time to communicate with others, give presentations, and get things done. In this video, we're going to be talking about summer. Summer is the warmest season of the year. It symbolizes freedom and growth. I think we know in our culture pretty intuitively, thanks to our school system, because summer is all about freedom and getting out there and doing the things that you love to do. The summer of your cycle occurs during ovulation. Ovulation is when a mature egg is released from the ovaries and it is ready to be fertilized. In other words, it's the best time to get pregnant. And because this is the best time to get pregnant, your superpowers during summer is big energy. During this time, your body is like, yeah, let's go! And your fabulous meter is through the roof because your body's like, check me out, let's go have fun, let's party. And from a biological standpoint, it makes sense. You're ready to get pregnant, so your body's like, okay, let's go do it. Let's go get it done. So because of this big energy, the world tends to really like us when we're in summer. Both when we're in summer and spring, really. We're more outgoing, we're friendlier. Both spring and summer, we tend to be a little bit more in our masculine energy. So it makes sense why the world, and sometimes us, we would like it if we could just stay in spring and summer all the time. Unfortunately, that's just not how nature works. But there is a catch. We all like summer until it's too hot. The world likes you when you're outgoing until you're too outgoing, until you're too loud, too crazy, until you're too much. We have this big, beautiful energy, but we're taught to put a lid on it. I think that's really sad. This last summer, I went and I worked at a summer camp, and I worked with 7-year-olds. Every Sunday night, we had a campfire, and before the campfire started, they played music. So I would go with my campers to the campfire, and I would dance around and have a jolly good time. But when I motioned for my campers to come over and dance with me, a lot of the times they didn't want to because they were embarrassed. These are 7-year-olds, and they're looking around, looking at the older girls, wondering what they're going to think of them. So I think it's pretty sad that these are 7-year-olds who have already been taught to put a lid on the energy that they have inside of them. We have a society that likes it when you're outgoing, but not too much, because you might be annoying. And so I feel like we go about our lives wanting to be who we are. How many self-help talks, how many people are out there saying, you, be yourself, just be yourself. But then when you are, you get backlash. I think that's pretty sad, and it's hard. But let me ask you this. The last time you had a crazy dance party, just without any judgment, behind the walls of your own home, how did you feel? And if you haven't had that experience, just close your eyes for a second and imagine that you can just have a dance party, move the way that you want to, and not worry about what anybody thinks. How does that feel? And maybe it feels a little uncomfortable, but cast your judgment aside. I bet you it feels really, really good. I've always really loved to have dance parties, and fortunately for me, I went to a high school that was a charter high school, and everyone really loved dancing at the dances. So I could get out there and be wild, and it wasn't really that big of a deal. So I was super fortunate in that aspect. But a story I have from my own life about letting myself just let go and have some wild energy is letting myself be loud. Like a lot of people, I've been taught to sit down and be quiet and be good and be nice. But I was at a conference, and at this conference, one of the invitations that the presenter gave to us was to yell, to be somewhere where you're alone you were alone, an example would be in your car, and just yell, be loud, let yourself be heard. And I tried it. I got in my car and I howled like I was howling at the moon. Oh! And then I laughed and laughed, and I just let myself be loud for a little bit. And by the end, I was smiling, and I'll tell you what, after I had that experience, I felt more outgoing and I felt more social. I could tell that it was something that my body wanted to do. I think that there is something inside of us that wants to come out and wants to be wild. And that's why this painting that's representing summer is of a belly dancer and a dragon who's breathing fire. Because they're not ashamed of who they are. She's letting herself dance, letting herself be who she is. And this dragon, she's being a dragon and breathing the fire that she has inside of her. It's so liberating. And I really think that if we took some time to let ourselves be who we are and truly let ourselves be without judgment and without worrying if it was too much, I really think that it would solve some problems that we have. Because we're quiet, we try to be reserved, we try to be the pretty little thing that society wants us to be, but how many of us snap one day? How many of us go, you know what, I can't take it anymore, and we do something that we regret? That's why my invitation for you is to let yourself go. The activities that I have for summer to be able to access your superpowers are really to let out your inner child. Let out your inner wild. Dance. And if you don't have a place, if you don't have a group that you can feel comfortable with, lock yourself in your room and have a crazy dance party. Go in the car and yell and scream. Let out all of the joy inside of you. Turn up the radio and sing your lungs out. Climb a tree, run around. Let it out. I promise if you do, your summer will be very fulfilling. I don't know about you, but back when I was in school, sometimes I would have summer vacation and I would get home and I would watch a lot of TV. I would stay inside, play video games. I wouldn't really get out much. And I usually felt bad about it. I'd wish that I could get out and ride my bike more and be with my friends. And the summers when I did, when I went out and I was a little crazy, it was fun and it was fulfilling. So look at that the same way in your body. When you're in summer, all the time really, but especially when you're in summer, let yourself be. Let your inner child come out, and I promise it'll feel so good. Thank you so much for listening. Join us next time for the final part, which is autumn. And oh, it's gonna be a good one.